Hey, and welcome to iHeart Radio. I'm sorry. Hey, welcome to the show, iHeart Intellectual Radio. Welcome to Black Conservative Radio. I am your host, Alan J. Campbell, aka the Batman, here in Gotham at the top of the hour. So, all right. Let's get into things tonight. Um, first and foremost, we are in our second year of celebrating Juneteenth. Juneteenth. Now, for those of you that do not know or understand what that is or what that means, that was when that this is the celebration for the official end of slavery for some blacks that were in Texas that had no idea that there was an emancipation proclamation issued in 1863. These people were still slaves in Texas until 1865. Now, how that come about is that um, Texas refused to concede to this, and what subsequently happened, they kept these people in slavery for another 2 years, and not only that, but um, they had created blockades from the Union armies from reaching Texas. So what they had to do was they had to go by way of sea. So they had to go through the Atlantic, around Florida, and come up to through the Gulf of Mexico and land in Galveston to get into Texas to free these people. That's just a prime example of white America and entitlement. That's just a prime example. And we're still dealing with that to this very day. We're still dealing with that. But now, with that being said, we celebrated it last year, and then they were trying to this is crazy, trying to work out all the kinks, all the bugs. So now this year, being the second year that it's been instituted, now it is considered now, I don't want people to get this confused. Um, Biden decided to make it a federal holiday. What that is, people, just understand. Just be clear. Just be clear. Let's be clear. Let us be clear that is basically the proverbial carrot given to us. And not only that, but we get one day. Okay, now here's the funny part. The fact of the matter that you're going to make it a federal holiday in June, okay, which happens to be Pride Month for the gays and lesbians. Okay, that's just so to speak contradictory, because Black History Month is in February, the shortest month, the coldest month of the year. Go figure. Okay, see they selling you all. They are selling you all a shit sandwich and convince you that it's hamburger. Let's be clear on that. Let's be clear on that. Let's be aware. I mean, it is, to a degree, to a degree, it is what it is. What it is. It is what it is. And we have to, at some point or another, we have to demand more. I'm not gonna say ask, but we have to demand more instead of accepting what is given to us. And that is the biggest problem, is that we accept what is given to us, not what we're entitled, quote unquote, like white people are entitled to, but demand. We have to start demanding these particular things. So that's one. Also, with that being said, let me say happy belated Father's Day to all the real men, all the real fathers. And shout out to my man, to my engineer. I do a really good job, but but I can't him out because he makes me look good too when I get here. So I got to say that. So also happy Father's Day to my man Earl over here. So with that being said, Oh, not a problem, man. Not a problem. Not a problem. See, and just to touch on Father's Day, and see, we 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 don't there are a lot of men out there that don't get the recognition not for that one day, but for the other 364. And I say again, for the other 364 days of the year, that are doing things that are above and beyond, that are creating paths, making inroads for their children, for their children. Okay, that's the thing. There's nothing, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk more about that, because there's nothing more important in this world than your children. Now, fellas, men, brothers, listen. When you go out there and you're doing you get with this chick, whoever she may be or whatever she may be, you know, yeah, whether you all have intended to do this, whether it's a plan or not plan, whether you all have laid um um ground rules, guidelines, if the or come to some understanding or get clarification on the direction that what the this relationship is going to go. These are kind of things that you definitely, fellas, you have to definitely make this clear on. Now, granted, some of us don't, and they go and sometimes you wind up going down a rabbit hole. But for those who have created children out of those relationships, and stand with their child, stand with them, and basically what I call, you're on duty. When you bring a child into the world, you are on duty 24/7, 365. No holidays, no holidays, no off days, no PTOs. You're not paid for overtime. This is a duty and a responsibility. A duty and a responsibility. Okay, it's not incumbent upon women to say, well, it's not incumbent upon women to say, well, and I've heard women say this, well, their father's not here and I'm doing all of this and I'm doing all of that, so I should be congratulated as being the father too. No, honey, no, 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 you don't. Unless you got something swinging between your legs that somebody don't know about, you will never be a father. Because women need to understand that you can never raise a boy to become a man. That's one of the reasons, and unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why we have a lot of goofies running around here, a lot of young men that are straight goofies right now, because one, either you're too busy not paying attention to your children, or you're too busy chasing some nigga, or you're too busy hanging out with your girls, or your time is being absorbed with the job, or what you tend to do is that you buy the child or children everything to basically buy their love, buy their attention. Doesn't work that way. Does not work that way. When you become when we reference the term father, we have to understand that he is the head of his clan, the head of that household. He is the one that is instilling certain guidelines and principles in that man child, or in his children, in his children. You all have heard me speak of my children numerous times, because why? There's nothing on this planet, nothing, nothing or no one on this planet that's more important to me than my children. And I say that because once one when I started having children, I knew early on that this was a responsibility. This was not only a responsibility, but it was my responsibility. Not the police, not the schools, not the system. These individuals belong to me. Belong to me. And if some of you, and this is the this is two sides, this is two different, this is uh two sides of the same coin. If for whatever reason that you don't understand that your children are most important. And not only that, but your children are a reflection of you. If they're out there doing all kinds of doing who knows what, Lord knows what, all kinds of shit and pulling all kinds of stunts, that's a reflection on you. That is a reflection on you. If you send these children out into the world with no, and I hear what I'm saying, people, with no life skills to the point where they can't even solve, they can't solve the problem of opening up a stick of chewing gum and putting it in their mouth and figuring out what, and then forget to chew. I've seen that. And I can't understand how that you allow how you can just be satisfied or content with letting this go or letting this happen. And I say that rhetorically because some people do that. Some of you have done that. And now you realize, like, oh my gosh, they're adults now. I need you. I gotta. How do I? You can't start being a parent, whether it's a mother or a father. You can't start. You don't, as they say, you can't start late. You cannot start late. Cannot start late. My grandson is 2 years old. One of my youngest, he's 2 years old. And say I'm the kind of individual to where I don't believe in telling anyone or any child something more than once. So he was cutting up, doing it, doing his thing, blah blah blah, and listening to his father tell him, sit down, stop, no, this, that, and the other. And I'm just watching this. I'm saying to myself, at what point you gonna knock fire from him? I'm sitting there wondering, when is this gonna happen? So he comes over. So he comes over to the table, sit down and eat. So I'm preparing his food, preparing his place and putting his food down. He decides he's going to get up and start running. I said, oh no. So I grab him, bring him back over to the table, and I wore his little behind out. Now, up into a point, he looked up at me and like, hey man, what the hell? He looked up and then he kind of had that little puzzled look. Then his father comes around. His father steps around and he looks, and then that's when the waterfall began. That's when the waterfall began. But the point being is that these are the things, and so these are the things that we have to instill in these children at a young age on discipline. And when you say something, they should move with reverence and fear. And one of the biggest problems is that these children don't fear anything because we have not put the fear of God in them. Because some of you are too busy being your child's friend and not a parent. You're too busy being a road dog instead of a parent. You're too busy occupying yourself with other things that don't concern you, with other than being a parent. When does it clue into some of y'all that when chicks, hey, ladies, when you're on your back and your legs gapped open like a V, and your legs high in the air and 10 toes to Jesus, and your eyes roll to the back of your head and you're biting your lip and all of that kind of carrying on, and he's stroking you real good, you know that there may be a child that come out of this. So you need to figure out what happens after that. Fellas, same deal. Same deal. When you pile driving, you drilling for oil, you trying to blast a hole in her. You do know that a child is subject to come out of that. That's the part to where, hey, we got to tighten this up. The other thing also told, when we also talk about this, when we bring these children into the world, we have to ask ourselves these other questions. And this is unfortunate. This is prevalent among our Black women. And some of you get into this mindset of your children, particularly your oldest child. And if he's a male, some of you women make that oldest child your best friend instead of your oldest child. You don't get to discuss certain things with him. He's your child, not your lover. He's your child, not your friend. He's your child, not your equal. And a lot of Black women tend to do that. Then when things go left and he shows you no respect, you wondering why. because you haven't earned it. You have not earned that. We have to understand these particular things also, that if this man is in your life, or he's in that child's life, get out of the way and let him do what he does. Let him do the thing, the his fatherly duties. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. When I was a boy coming up, and it was like with my father. It's like we the way he ran his house. When we were younger, when we were children, it's basically like if he cleared his throat, everybody was at attention. Whatever you were doing, stop. Whatever you were trying to figure out, don't. Whatever you were in the process of doing, ain't happening, because the man has spoken. The man has spoken. See, we have to when we're talking about fathers, and then we dedicating one day out of the year. We have that just can't be for that one day. That can't just be for that particular thing. I yesterday, with that being, yesterday I think I had more than what I anticipated. So many people called and text me to say happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. But the most precious one came from my children and my grandchildren. And that was the most precious ones. And those are the things that we have to take, that we cannot take for granted, and that we have to hold on to. Have to hold on to. And understand this, that the man, he is at the head, he is the beginning. He is the overseer. He is that. And anyone other than that is under his submission, under his dominion. And that's one of the things that some of you women don't get and understand, is that when this man is in charge, you are under his dominion. You are under his submission. And in order for that to work, women, you have to understand, you have to know and understand your place. Know and understand your place. The flip side to that is that also too, in order for a man to become a man, he has to be taught. There has to be a road, a blueprint, a guideline, a draft. There has to be something for him to look at and to understand. Now, here's the other thing. When I mentioned that, this works both ways. This works both ways. For the women who don't, there was no father figure, or you had, see, one of the in order in order for there to be a balance, there has to be an equilibrium. Okay, there has to the man and the woman. Okay, now, granted, sometimes we'll all go back and forth through our relationships and so on and so forth. But at the same time, there has to be a balance. If this woman has children, now here's the thing: it's incumbent upon her to get her children under control and get them together. And not only that, but to respect any and everyone that comes to her. One of the biggest things that sometimes women do not do is that they do not enforce the enforce things, meaning the level of respect when there's a man in the house, or he's in their company. In their company. Okay. Also, if some of you have grown up and you didn't have a father figure, this also plays a factor in the type of men that you're subject to choose. Because if you don't have a blueprint, you have no way of gauging what type of man that you should be consorting with, for lack of a better word. And, and these things happen. There's some women that say, well, but then at the same time, if they have if there's a strong, if there is, and make no mistake that there are times that where you will run across someone that that will be that type of person to at least give you an idea, set a blueprint. It's that, now some of you are out there, you're looking for Mr. Perfect, you're looking for the Brooks Brothers briefcase, downtown uptown brother. You look here, you know you're living in a fantasy world, because that's not going to happen because understand something, if you don't have your shit together, why is he even looking at you? Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. When we talk about Father's Day, when we talk about fathers, there are certain things that we as fathers have to do. And sometimes these things may be questionable. Sometimes they may be, and you, excuse me, you may not understand them. But majority of the time, these things are being done in the best interest of the person or the family or the household. And also too, it's not for you to question that. It's not for you to do that. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. None. So, I hope that as we go through each and every day, and this is the other part, excuse me, and for the fathers, spend time. Like I said, there's nothing more important, but spend time with your children. Educate your children. Give them as much wisdom and knowledge as you can, as you can give them, because that way they're not walking out there like a bunch of fools that cannot solve the simplest problem. And not only that, but they're bringing other children, they're bringing other babies into the world with no sense, with no sense of purpose. We have to ask ourselves, when we do these, are we raising sons or harboring bastards? Got to ask ourselves these particular questions. So that's a little tidbit right there. And then it's a little tidbit. So my next one is, this one's relatively interesting. Um, so about 2 weeks ago, and I'm pretty much sure everybody heard about this. And this is an absolute embarrassment. And this is an embarrassment for anyone that's in this field. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, our beloved Kim Fox, the Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox, was involved in a domestic situation with her husband. Now, his name Kelly Fox. Hey, I can't make this up. I'm not that clever. So apparently, the two got into an argument that turned physical, where this dude locked himself in the bathroom and called police on Kim Fox. Okay, right out here in Flossmoor, which basically that's the uptown. That's the uptown of the suburbs. The uptown, that's where people who got money live. So apparently, this took place um, over the weekend, and apparently the argument was about something he had posted on Facebook, and she asked him to take it down. He refused. They got into a argument that turned into a shoving match, to the point where Kelly Fox called police. Police arrived, and they um, asked both parties what had happened. By the time they got there, both parties were outside. Both Kim and Kelly were outside to meet the Flossmoor police. And as the story unfolded, he stated that Kim Fox had slapped him. Okay, now I'm gonna go into that. I'm gonna go into this thing about that. I want people to earmark that before but I want to make sure. Also, the phone lines are open, so if you got a comment, you got a comment, just give me a call here at the station at 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. So uh she indicated that there was some altercation, and she openly, and this is the part to where, this is the part where you say keep your mouth shut. Kim Fox admitted that she had struck her husband. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. That she admitted striking her husband. So Flossmoor police examined Kelly Fox. They didn't see any significant injuries, but the fact that she said she struck him. Now, here's the thing about that. You are the chief law enforcement officer of the county of Cook, and you mean to tell me that one, granted, we know people get into we know people get into arguments every day. I'm sure Barack and Michael got into it occasionally, maybe more than once. I'm sure they did. I'm sure that Kamala Harris and that the Jew guy, I can't think of his name. I'm sure they get into it. But these are things that are behind closed doors. But the fact that Kelly Fox called police and the record and listening to the recording was really, I actually thought it was hilarious. I mean, I'm not saying that domestic violence is funny, but just listening to the narrative on how this unfolded. You got mad because he posted something on Facebook and you ordered him to take it down. Hold on. First and foremost, that's a grown man. Ladies, you got to understand, you don't order men to do anything. You don't order them to do anything. You can ask, you can suggest. You don't order. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. And vice versa. Then you don't get to order women around. You don't get to order certain things. You can ask or suggest. See, there has to be a mutual understanding. But the fact that this is the part where you say, hey, wait a minute, you admit to nothing, you dummy. You admit to nothing. He can say what he wants, and you're heard to her. You can't be, and this is the part where I say she can't be that stupid. But then again, look at over the last few years on how crime is spiking, and the mandates that she has taken away, and some things that she has put in place that doesn't work. So, that's kind of, that's really what it looks like. Say, can you, you can't be that stupid. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So, they took the report, and neither party were arrested, because here's the thing. How would it look for Flossmoor police to arrest the chief law enforcement officer of Cook County? How do you even begin to prosecute something like that? But wait a minute now, but let's look at it this way too. The fact that they did not arrest her, and she admitted striking her husband. Now, if that was me, or correct me if I'm wrong, Earl, if that was you, if you had struck a woman, you getting in the back of the car, right? Huh? Okay. I just want to make sure that this is exactly what happened. And not only that, but she admitted striking him. Look, we're getting it, because the fact that and I'm sure that these officers were completely baffled on how do we handle this, because we've never had this situation before, or we've never had a situation where this has happened. Now, granted, there are things that happen in the office, and there are people that wind up getting caught up, but the fact that you're the chief law enforcement officer, you are supposed to be the one enforcing the law, not breaking it. Now, with that being said, and the spike in crime and a few other caveats, this right here, as far as I'm concerned, she's not going to get reelected. Let's just be clear on that. I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. There's too many things, and she's drawing too much bad publicity, press, and attention to the Cook County's to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Your job is to prosecute crimes. Your job is to catch criminals, catch these criminals. Your job is to prosecute murderers. Your job is to ascertain this homicide, this sexual assault, this theft. This is what your job is. Now, granted, like I said, I'm not taking anything from that to the fact that, yes, people do get into heated arguments, heated discussions, and sometimes these things turn physical. I understand that. None of us, and let's be clear, none of us are above. First of all, none of us are above the law. Second, none of us, and we're all capable of doing the unthinkable or the unbelievable. I actually asked a person once. I don't say once, but I actually asked a person, and I said, the comment, the question, the conversation talked about killing someone. Okay, now make no mistake, people, we're all capable of killing. We're all capable of that. Place if we're placed in the right situation, we're all capable of it. Some people say, "Oh no, I could never do that." You know what? You're a goddamn lie. Yes, you would. I put it to you this way: if someone's trying to take your life and you have an opportunity to, and you're defending yourself, and they're not going to stop until they get you or you get them. Walking away is not an option for either one of you. So therefore, you've made a decision. I have to do what I have to do. It's what the police department call exigent circumstances. And I know that's a huge word for some of you out there. Huge word. Huge. But those possibilities exist. When women say, when women who are victims of domestic abuse, make no mistake about it. You can't sit here and you can't, if you say that thought never ran across your mind, you're a liar. Because when you are close to that, when you're close to the edge, that's all you're thinking. If I don't kill him, he's gonna kill me. That's how that works. That's how and some people will say, oh, that's not everyone. No, that's a lot. No. First of all, if you understand human nature, if you understand the human mind, we're capable of, believe it or not, some of the most outrageous things. Outrageous, some of the most heinous, some of the most unbelievable. And then sometimes some of us if we're placed in that situation, you're going to do what you have to do to survive. The first rule of survival is self-preservation. The first rule. Make no mistake about that. The first rule of survival is self-preservation. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. It has happened and it's going to continue to happen. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, because this is human nature. Human nature. Human nature. So, that we have, and then that's seeing, when you understand human nature, then you will understand a human being. When people say, well, I'm not understanding how a person can do that. First of all, you have to understand the person. You have to understand the what they've done. You have to look at it a little bit deeper. A little bit deeper. You have to look at that. That's how you have to do that. And I'm gonna take 10 seconds, to give a shout out to my man, my sponsor, Captain Hooks. So if you're hungry, go get your behind down to 85th and Cottage Grove, 103rd and King Drive, and 15922 South Kedzie in Markham, Illinois. Captain Hook's fish, chicken, and shrimp. Now, I had another thing that's really baffling. That people we have to realize that okay, we're in the summer, we're in summertime, we're in the summer. Okay, right now we and these temperatures are dangerous. But what I cannot fathom or understand is how people forget their infant children in the car. How do you do that? Okay, so a story out of this is just one that really this is one of many because there were at least four within the last 14 15 days where an idiot parent, and I said idiot, left their child in the car, and basically the child baked and died. I'm trying to understand that. So we have this woman out of Houston, Texas, left her 3-year-old son in the car for 5 hours while she was preparing. Now get this. She was in the while she was rushing to prepare prepare for her 8-year-old daughter's birthday party. So the part that's really twofold is that each time that this 8-year-old child has a birthday, you have to think about that's the same day that your child died. You died on the birthday of another child. Do I call it forgiveness? No. No. Do I call it neglect? Yes. As I said before, there is nothing more important than your children. How do you get that discombobulated that you forget that you have an infant child, and at some point or another you ran around for 5 hours, and now when I say ran around, all of this happened and the child was left in the car in the driveway. Hey, welcome to the show. Who do I have on the phone and where you calling from?
It's Jay from Georgia.
All right, Georgia, let's have it.
I think it should be, we'll just go right into it.
Yeah.
Dealing with the whole Kim Foxx situation. First of all, Kim Foxx represents a new school of incompetent prosecutors. We're seeing this wave of incompetence. You know, it used to be a point where the cream rises to the top. And from that cream, we would select people who we thought would be the best representatives to help defend decency, morality, the rule of law in whatever shape, form, or fashion that is. Now we're just going for the fan club. Who's the most popular in the fan club? Okay? And we see where that's getting us. Not only is it getting us poor standards of law enforcement, but it's also a decreased quality of life because of the lack of public safety.
Mm.
And Kim Foxx is the poster child for don't let this happen to your city. We're seeing this happen all over the country. We're seeing this happen in New York. We're seeing this happen, of course, in Chicago. We're seeing this happen in San Francisco, where actually they recalled, if I'm not correct,
yes,
the district attorney.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Okay, they actually pulled that idiot's coattail. Yeah, we're gonna bring you back. You're not ready for this. So we need to address that. The other part of where you were speaking of these incompetent parents, I think the whole point that I'm going to say here tonight, and I've said this a couple of times, this is what happens when the children from Charlie Brown grow up. There's all of these issues that never got solved, but now they're the ones in the adult chairs who can't understand each other's language. See, because here's the thing. This is why I call it not only incompetence, but I call it negligence, and I call it self-consumption or conceitedness, if you will. First of all, when you give yourself over to become a parent, your children are paramount to you. Your children are the treasures of what you hold and seek to preserve and want to provide the best for them. So the idea of, oh, I was so busy that I didn't remember that I had another, and here are three things that I find that are very common to that whole scenario every single time. It's typically a white female. It's typically someone from a just a little above blue collar status in life. And they are typically someone who, I just could never imagine as being me, is their sob story. And I say it's a sob story, and I say that it's a ploy because having raised two children myself and having dealt with other people's children in several capacities, it's very, very difficult to get out of your car, lock the car, walk away from the car, and not remember that I've left my wallet, not remember that I've left my phone, not remember that I might not have even locked the car.
When I read the story,
I'm not even talking about the human factor. I'm talking about the things that we remember that we forgot 2 seconds after we locked the car.
Right,
your wallet, your phone, did I lock the car? So you're telling me that you are so baffled in life that you can't remember that you actually brought another human being into that. Alan, it's gotten so stupid that car manufacturers now have to put a dinger in the car.
Yes.
To remind you, please check the back seat.
Yes. They used to, when I sidebar, when I worked in I used to turn a wrench. I used to be a grease monkey. And in the car, and then a woman would come in, and ladies, make no mistake, this is not beating up, but this is getting a better understanding of what we're seeing. And we used to call it, so when a woman would come in and she would say, oh, I can't understand why this light is always on. And so we get the car and look at it, and then we see what it is and see what the light is. It says, oh, okay, this usually, and we call it the idiot light, meaning that it's telling you something. It's you, and most of the time it will be the oil light, meaning that you have to put some oil in the car. And not to piggyback off of what you just said, the fact that now manufacturers are installing dingers in these vehicles to remind you that there is another human being in the car, which means that how stupid do you really have to be? This woman left the child in the car for 5 hours while she was inside the home preparing for a birthday party. And at what point did it not dawn on you, you have not seen this rambunctious 3-year-old running around pulling the tablecloth or knocking something down or getting in your way? At what point does this not clue in? I have children. One second. I have children, and there was never an instant to where I forgot that my child or children were in the car. Never happened. But as you said, this is typical of upper class, well-to-do white women. They have right now, they're trying to figure out what to charge you with. What do you charge you with? You charge you with child endangerment and child neglect and possibly manslaughter. But
first of all, the fact that they're trying to find out what to charge you tells you everything about the case. Because if Keisha does it while she's trying to go get a job and she leaves the kids in the car for 20 minutes to go fill out an application, there is no question Keisha will be charged with child endangerment. She will be charged with reckless abandonment. And she will be charged with some other moving violation, having the vehicle not secured, whatever it is.
Right.
My point is, the other part of it is, We are so self-consumed and self-absorbed with our own foolishness. It's hard to miss a 3 or 5-year-old making a nuisance in the back seat.
Beyond me.
So what you're basically telling us is television is raising the child.
Yes.
Because the fact that you didn't even notice that they were missing for hours says that your level of connectivity and attachment to this living being that you brought into the world is null and void. It's non-existent.
Yep.
So I think the problem with where we are today is, and this is so unfortunate, but the conveniences of life have almost outweighed our ability to even continue or even enjoy life, because we're so distracted by the conveniences. We don't have the common sense to just pay attention. We don't. We have zero common sense. And you say that, and it's proven. The fact that we have to make laws to tell people to watch out for people who are looking at their phone while they're walking into a crosswalk, regardless of what the light signal says.
Very true.
That's the world we live in.
Very true. It's a point to where we're living in a oblivious but self-consuming society. Self-consuming, self-absorbed, self-serving. So let's just sum it up with one word. We live in a culture of selfishness. Yep. That is that. Now, that's true. That is very, very true. Now, now there's two. Now, with also that being two, there's also two sides of being selfish. Also, there's also two sides, because sometimes if you're giving too much, and this sometimes happens to a lot of people, that they're constantly giving, and they're not putting and they're not leaving anything for themselves, or they're not leaving anything for their significant other or their children. There's a point to where you have to pull back and say, you know what, this is for me. This is for me. You know, who hasn't went to the store and bought them something, a specialty cake or a particular type of meat, and you say, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. This is for me. And then you get some long-throated bastard to come in there and eat it up. And then wait, not on top of that, but then they eat it up, and then they take the wrapper and put it at the bottom of the garbage bag, like it's just magic, like you trying to convince you that you done lost your mind, and somehow or another it teleported from the refrigerator to the garbage. Now that's a part of where selfishness is part of what we have to maintain, because if we're constantly giving out too much, we will exhaust ourselves till there's nothing left. Sometimes we have to be selfish when it comes to our children, to where, hey, this is for me, or you know what, this is what we have to do and how we have to go about this. Now, the other part about selfishness is when you just completely just say, to hell with it. You know what, I'm not giving nobody nothing. Husband, wife, children, lover included. You're like, wow, really? Seriously? That's what we're doing now? Yeah. I mean, it's two sides to that. It's two sides. It's different sides of the same coin. Because
yes, there is. And I think that the main thing is understanding the balance of between selfishness and selflessness.
Right.
So there's a different balance. But we are living where the meters turn completely to selfishness. Me, serve me, and it's about me. Period. And this is a prime example, because the fact that you are not even conscious, you're not cognizant, there's nothing in your parameters that says there's something off. Where are my children? Where's my child? I have 2 of them. Why do I not hear this one? Well, you don't hear it because you're disconnected. You have become so used to tuning them out that you've actually become comforted in the silence.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because if she's so used to it, or she has placed the child in an area of the home to where he does not bother her or distract her, that was in her mind, or in her mind, that's completely normal.
Completely normal. Because now I can focus on me, and he's obviously detained by something other than me, and I'm cool with that. I was watching a news clip maybe a month ago, which is just the reverse of this, where some dingbat mother, same, and again, I will not even describe the ethnicity or other characteristics of this particular parent. But this particular parent, her 4-year-old, somehow got her phone and ordered 34 cheeseburgers.
Wow.
That were delivered by whatever, Instacart, Uber, really. So first of all, you were so distracted and so disconnected that it never occurred to you, what is my child doing with my phone and what is going on here? And to you, this created quite a chuckle and a laugh for something that was newsworthy, that your child was smart enough, or is it the fact that you were disconnected enough that they were able to make in a complete order, complete with payment, mind you, for 34 double cheeseburgers to be delivered?
Yeah, that was the prime example. See, this is, once again, this goes back to what I consider, and what I always say is poor parenting skills. Because here's the other thing: I've seen parents turn over their phone to their child for them to play or occupy themselves. It's like, wait, what are we doing? We're doing this now? What's wrong with you? Or I've seen this part to where I've seen parents, which is the stupidest thing beyond me, to where parents will purchase the child a $600 iPhone. Hear what I'm saying? A $600 iPhone. Earl, would you buy your child a $600 iPhone at 5 years old? He said no. He got better things to do with that money. Better things.
I think most sane people do. But we're dealing with a society that makes it cheaper to deal with your children that way than to actually engage them. And that's the sad part. It's cheaper to occupy them with foolishness than to engage them with actual conversation. And that is pathetic.
Yeah, I have that. I have seen that happen. I because when we're talking about, and when we're talking about parenting, that we get the part where, yes, when the child is born, he doesn't come with an owner's manual.
Yes, he does.
Well, no. Wait. Hold on. I'm being rhetorical. But go ahead. I was being rhetorical.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? That's just another, again, cultural excuse for you not to do what you're supposed to do. If a dog can know what to do with a puppy that falls out, excuse my French, that falls out of his ass, which has less intellectual capacity, according to us, but the dog knows what to do with a pup. A cat knows what to do with a pup. A lion knows what to do with a pup. Now, these are animals that we have told ourselves have less intellectual fortitude and insight. But somehow or another, they're smart enough to know what to do to raise the actual offspring. And here we are, the masters of the universe in our domain, and we act like this is some sort of foreign alien that fell out of the sky.
Yes.
I'm not buying it. You know what? Just think this was a science experiment going wrong. I can respect you more. But don't say it didn't come with an owner's manual. Yes, it did. Every other creature on this globe has a blueprint on how to manage life.
Right.
We just refuse to look at ours. We won't even open the damn thing up. Last point, which plays right into what we're saying. The baby formula is a shortage.
Yes.
At what point in time, excuse my vulgarity, did titties stop making milk? Oh, there's no formula in the stores. Oh my God, my child is gonna. No. Nature has already provided. Well, my child has, then your child might be one of those Tiny Tims. And there's a reason why he did not make it past that one Christmas. We need to quit producing all these Tiny Tims. That's my end remark.
All right, Georgia, appreciate your commentary. Appreciate it. But that being said, there's a lot of good points in there, a lot of caveats in there. And then and this is the part about as I said early on about the portion about fathers and parenthood. There's nothing more precious. There's nothing more important. I cannot stress that. And for you boo-boos that are walking around here and thinking that this is okay, or you're trying to make up traction, you're trying to those that are trying to do the right thing with their children, or children that are out of control, or they're trying to reach their adult children, you're trying to score points to get into heaven. Listen, that train, that ship has left port, that train has left the station, that bus has left the depot. That's something that you should have done very early on. Very early on. And as he said, and I'm gonna wrap this up, as Georgia said, there's no to piggyback off that, there's no excuse. And when we say that no, they don't come with an owner's manual, yes, they do. You're the blueprint. The generation that preceded you, they are the blueprint. And some of you have gotten away from raising your children the way that you were raised. I'm not going to raise my children. I'm not going to raise my children the way I was raised. Well, here's the thing. You turned out all right. You caught hell like everybody else. And one of the biggest problems that we give these children too much freedom. The second generation, we give them too much freedom. Even the third generation. Now you're trying to backtrack. No, it doesn't work that way. You can never corral yesterday. Never corral it. So with that being said, I see the lights flashing in the distance and the helicopter's about to land, which means that's all the time that we got here on tonight's show, Black Conservative Radio, here on iHeart Intellectual Radio. Intellectual Radio. Shout out to my sponsor again. Hey, Captain Hooks. Hey, you got about 29 more minutes to get down to one of these locations, 85th and Cottage Grove, 103rd and King Drive, and 15922 South Kedzie in Markham, Illinois. And with that being said, not my monkey, not my circus. To the Batmobile.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.